Carl and Damon here from Games, Brrraains A Head-Banging Life, gbhblofficial for short. And they made what into a movie as we go back a couple of years to 2020 and the release of the live-action Sonic the Hedgehog movie. You know, that film based on that something game series that you might have heard of, Sonic the Hedgehog by Sega, directed by Jeff Fowler in his feature directorial debut. Big task for him.
One, yeah.
Written by Pat Casey and Josh Miller. So this came out in 2020. I saw it, I think, a couple of weeks after it came out. I didn't see it in the cinema. I think this went straight to like a home premiere thing because of like COVID.
Time,
COVID time. So I think that's how I saw it. And I'm going to be straight up. I liked it a lot of the time. I didn't think it was brilliant, but I liked it, particularly in the sense of a video game movie, because there were so many bad ones. Sonic immediately was good because of that. But regardless of that, I thought it was a decent movie.
Yeah, I mean, I saw it probably only about a year ago. I saw number 2 first.
Yeah, which is weird.
Because I got in the crowd of being put off because of the fact of Jim Carrey playing Robotnik.
Yeah.
So I thought, nah, it does not suit. You know, he's a skinny guy. It does not suit.
Right.
But after watching the film, so I'm changed my mind.
You're on board with him.
Yeah, definitely. And again, like you said, I quite enjoyed it. You know,
yeah.
I was surprisingly into it.
Entertained.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it is an energized movie with a very basic story, but one you can just enjoy in almost like a unchain your brain way. There's nothing too complex here,
No.
particularly in the first film. And I was the same as you. When I saw Jim Carrey in that as Robotnik, I thought two things. I thought, more than two things. I thought it was an odd casting choice, but I wasn't against the idea. But I was a bit worried because obviously Jim Carrey, when he goes for comedy, can sometimes
overact.
Yes. Yeah, eat the scenery, as it were. And I was worried that. And then they did the trailer, and I saw certain scenes of where he's screaming about coffee, and dancing, and I thought, oh my god, that looks horrible. Yeah. But I agree with you. I actually think he might probably be the best thing about this movie.
Yeah, definitely.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
But we do have to talk about it because obviously it's quite famous. This movie was obviously heavily delayed. I think by about 3 months to redesign Sonic. So of course this incredible trailer that was released that showed a more almost humanoid Sonic with human teeth and small eyes, and everyone just went, the fuck is that? And it was such a massive backlash that Paramount actually delayed the film to redesign Sonic. Yeah. Do you remember seeing that original Sonic?
I do. It was when I saw it, it was hilarious. But I mean, I wonder if they done it on purpose, like a little beta test. You know, because they thought, you know what? Let's release this version first, see how people react.
Oh, I don't know, man.
Or do you think that it was just like they actually genuinely thought this is going to be our Sonic?
There's no reason. To me, there's no reason to have a conspiracy theory around this. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah. It's simply that, because you end up having to delay the movie and potentially spend a lot more money on a redesigned Sonic. I can't really see any sort of sense behind it. You didn't create any hype. You create outrage. You know, it was so horrible looking.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
The actual new designer came up, I liked it.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. The film was very successful. It set the record for the biggest opening weekend for a video game film in the United States and Canada and grossed 320 million worldwide, becoming the 6th highest grossing film of 2020 overall. Wow. And was the highest grossing video film adaptation of all time in North America until 2022. When it's surpassed by its sequel. Yeah. So yes, hugely successful. Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. The film received generally positive reviews with praises for its action sequence, visuals, humour and performances, Carrey's portrayal of Robotnik and the character of Sonic, although its screenplay and use of product placement were criticised. Yeah, I noticed the product placement the first time round. Yeah. Noticed it more this time round, but truth be told, I couldn't care less. It doesn't really bother me.
No.
As long as it's literally not, you should buy, like Jokey Wayne's World.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that kind of thing. that whole scene. I don't really care. It doesn't bother me too fucking much.
I just think people are nowadays just so goddamn picky. It's like literally every little thing is scrutinised, you know. I mean, this,
But that's literally what we do in these videos.
I mean, things like having... I don't know what you call it, subliminal messages.
Yeah.
Films, I don't care about it. If the film's good, they can have a guy go drink Pepsi or whatever.
No, they can't. No, I massively disagree with that. No, because what? Because if it doesn't, it just feels fucking weird. Now, I've never seen it, but I've heard about the Power Rangers movie, the one that's the modern Power Rangers movie, the one that came out a few years ago, was so heavy on its Krispy Kreme, I think, product placement that it flat out ruins the movie.
Last Power Rangers was Ivan Ooze.
No, but my point stands on that. Like that's what I'm saying is no. Product placement exists in movies, you often don't even notice it. Whether it's the make of a car and aspects like that, you just laugh it off. It depends how heavy that is. It never really bothered me in Sonic. It never bothered me.
Yeah.
But I can understand why it's worth criticising. But you can't sit here while we do a video nitpicking everything, say, people should nitpick. It makes us look like idiots.
No, it's more the fact that, I mean, if you don't notice it, who cares?
Yeah. I mean, it is that to a certain degree.
So, I mean, you're always going to get some sort of
the problem is this: when these films are aimed at children,
of course.
Which, let's be honest, Sonic is aimed at kids.
Yeah,
this is a movie that's aimed at kids, maybe a little bit older kids, with plenty for adults and plenty for video game fans. But I think it's important to remember this is still a children's movie.
Of course, but I mean, if Sonic pulled out a pack of fags and started smoking it, then I can go, yeah, I can understand. But if one of the geezers pulls out a bottle of Pepsi, or starts drinking it, then I'll go, oh, he's drinking. It's a drink. What,
but why is he drinking that specific brand? Does that mean if the camera lingers as he thirstily drinks it, and you see the beads of ice cold, and he goes,
if it does that,
looks at the camera and goes,
refreshing.
Do you know what I mean? Like that. Anyway, we've gone well off topic here. Let's go back onto the film. Sonic 2, of course, was released in 2020. And it should be noted that Sonic the Hedgehog 3 is scheduled for release December 20th, 2024. It is the striking while iron's hot. This franchise will have a shelf life like they all do. And eventually they'll fuck it up as they always do. Because in addition, I found out that a spin-off miniseries starring Knuckles in development. And I was like, here we go. That's it. Just go. Start hammering too much stuff. Well,
I mean,
so no one cares.
It's only rumoured, but I heard that. Well, it's only a rumour that Jim Carrey said that Sonic 3 will be his last film.
That makes sense. It makes sense. Yeah. Well, not necessarily. Well, not that I heard he retired, but it makes sense. Like it could be a trilogy. A trilogy of movies.
They always take it too far. And like you said,
depends how successful the next one is. That's what will matter next.
Resident Evil was successful, and look how bad they thought those ones were.
Yeah, no, but then we could argue peaks and valleys, ups and downs.
Yeah.
Also, Resident Evil was named at kids. Kids are
this not always so.
Yeah, parents are these. If I'm correct, these movies were always released right around the time of holiday season and stuff like that. Not holiday season as in Christmas. I mean school holidays or Easter period and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure. So you're getting parents bringing their kids and big groups of kids going to see them. That's money making stuff there. They're going to continue. Yeah, because saying that, if Sonic 3 is scheduled for release on December 20th, that's over a Christmas holiday period.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do some Christmas stuff in it.
Yeah.
That will give us something to enjoy. Yeah. Not a Christmas film necessarily, but set it at Christmas maybe. Yeah. Maybe around that period. That could be fun. But yeah, the idea of a mini-series around Knuckles, I'm like, wait, was the character that good in Sonic 2?
I can only think maybe it might be after what happened to number 3, possible.
They're just going to try and slam it into the ground.
Of course.
Anyway, right, so, actors. Voice actors and actors. There's a mix of names here, and truth be told, it was kind of cool to not see them pull out loads of people who you might know. So the big one is Ben Schwartz as Sonic. Now, most people I don't think would know who Ben Schwartz was.
Nope.
Unless you watch or have seen the show Parks and Recreation, which is a comedy show. It's now finished a long time ago. Parks and Recreation, it was a spin-off of The Office. Very good show, and why have I forgotten his name? Why have I forgotten names of Parks and Rec? What's his name? Oh, this is going to bug me. Wait, it's going to come. Jean-Ralphio. Jean-Ralphio. He is hilarious as Jean-Ralphio in Parks and Recreation. That's Ben Schwartz. Never seen it, so yeah.
Nope.
And that's what I said. It's only if you've seen it you would know it.
Yeah.
And Benjamin L. Valek voices young Sonic at the beginning of the movie. Now we get the main cast. Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotnik, of course. It's Jim Carrey. James Marsden as Tom Wachowski. Tika Sumpter as Maddie Wachowski. Natasha Rothwell as Rachel. Adam Pally as Wade. And Lee Majdoub as Agent Stone. And the last I'm going to mention is Donna J. Fulks as Longclaw, the voice of Longclaw, the owl. Right. best and worst acting or person in it or character. No, let's do acting. So I think we both agree Robotnik, Jim Carrey.
Yeah, he's top. Yeah,
he is top.
Yeah.
Who did you not enjoy?
Okay, I didn't like. His name's gone for me. You said it a minute ago, but James Madsen.
James Marsden. Tom.
I've never. Tom. Yeah, Tom. I've never been a major fan of him in films.
Yep.
He's always done really bad. Again, nothing against him, but he's done some really bad films.
He's done some bad movies, and when I think of him, I think of two things I've hated him in. Two things specifically. One is the Superman Returns movie with Brandon Routh as Superman, and second is Ally McBeal season 5, where he is part of the worst season of Ally McBeal.
Oh my god! Of course it's him.
Tim.
Oh my god!
Yeah, of course it's him. Yeah.
Oh
You forgot that?
Yeah. Do you know what? I can see his face now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
Wow.
But truth be told, I'm okay with him in this. He doesn't exactly light up the screen, but he's fine. You know who I didn't like? It's the character of Rachel, Natasha Rothwell, the sister. Because honestly, nobody should be making that many jokes constantly. And I know it's done in that whole, I hate him, and all that kind of thing. But weirdly enough, going back and watching this, her character is coloured now for me by her character in the second film. In the second film, I hated her character. I hated the whole wedding scene. And now going back and watching this, and while she doesn't have a big part to play, I was just like, oh, it's you again.
Yeah, you've already had a bad impression of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Beyond that, I'm mostly okay with everybody. It's a lot of basic stuff. Wade, he's the doofus deputy.
It's a stupid one, yeah.
Agent Stone, I don't really get. No. I don't really get his character. Maddie, she's nice. She's nice. She's, supportive of the husband. They seem like they've got good relationship and decent chemistry. But nothing really...
It's all about Jim
Sonic
Carrey.
And Tom.
Yeah, Sonic and Tom. Yeah.
I'd say arguably about Sonic and Tom and Jim Carrey as the overarching villain. It is a buddy movie. Sonic and Tom's buddy movie. But we're going to get into some of the detail now as we talk it through. So I wanted to mention Paramount Logo begins things, and we get the rings doing it instead. And I was kind of like, because I was such a miserable git sometimes. I was just like, oh, how kitsch, how clever you are. That kind of like. But I do really like the Sega logo that they then follow that up with. Yeah. However, you're just trying to rip off Marvel with that. Also, like that implies like what Sega are going to be doing movie versions of all their games and all that. And it's like, when? Yeah, also, I can't wait for the live adaptation of Golden Axe. Who the fuck is asking for a live adaptation of Golden Axe? Do you know what I mean? Like, because that's one of the games playing. I'm like, what?
That'd be terrible.
Here's a live adaptation of Altered Beast. Nobody wants these films. Yeah. It kind of just felt like you were trying to be cool and like modern, and while it looks good, it's just like, that's not happening. No. That's not happening. And then we begin at the end, and I am such a critic of this. I'm a massive critic of a film starting at the end.
Yes.
Because you kind of is like, well, what am I building? I'm going to tell you how we get there, but now I kind of know what's going to happen. Yeah. I now know that Sonic is being chased through the streets of a city by Dr. Robotnik and his explosions and shit. Mm-hmm. So, like, it's not a big thing compared to, say, coming to the end where you see someone get killed and then we go back to the beginning because you're like, well, no, I know they fucking die. Why should I care? Yep. But it's still like, why are we doing it that way? Because then like Sonic slows down and he starts to talk and he's like, oh, how did I get here? That kind of thing. And then we go back to the beginning. Literally, as he literally rewinds. Yeah. And I thought that was weird. Very fourth wall breaking.
I don't get why they did that at all. It doesn't. I don't like it. It's silly.
I don't see why we couldn't just start with this part. Because we begin on an unknown island where Sonic lives happily. He's born with extraordinary powers, that's all I say. Love keeping it that simple. No need for this complex stuff. He was just born with extraordinary powers. Yep. And he's lived under the watchful eye of Longclaw, who's an owl. I don't fucking know. Do you know? Nope, who cares? It's just that.
Yep.
But Sonic, who is being hunted, or people want his powers, or whatever, I don't really get why, he's attacked by a tribe of echidnas. Now, we actually know this based off the sequel more than anything else, because you can kind of see they're echidnas, but they've got masks on and all that. I know this because in Sonic 2 they go back to the same scene, and we see there actually are echidnas. Yes. Longclaw is able to grab Sonic and fly away, but takes an arrow to the side, crashing to the ground. Surprising lack of blood.
Yeah.
But, that's my gory side. It was like, she should be bleeding,
Yeah, of course.
She gives Sonic a quick speech, With great power comes great responsibility and all that bollocks. It's not that, but it's basically the same
same sort of
speech.
principle,
Yeah, but she says stay hidden and uses the ring to create a portal to an unknown world where he can stay hidden, apparently. She then gives him a bag of rings. Her never stop running are her final words as the echidnas attack and Sonic goes through the portal.
Never stop running. Now go!
Cue the title card, and I was like, yeah, cool. That backstory was short and to the point.
Yeah, definitely.
2 minutes? 2 minutes-ish, I think.
Yeah, no stupid explaining where
overtly explaining and long-winded and boring and why we need to know Sonic's history and all that. And it's just like, no, this is him a kid. This is what happened. This is how he ended up where he is. But he also set up some cool elements that we're going to understand better in it, which is the ring portals.
Yes.
Gotta say, that was a really clever idea to add into this.
Yeah, definitely.
This ring, that rings could be used for portaling. Really clever idea.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
We jumped to 10 years later in the town of Green Hills, Montana. Aha! There's lots of that.
Yeah.
But I'm fine with that. That's good. Just
exactly,
make fun little references like that.
Yeah.
And we see Sheriff Tom is on speed patrol. It's very quiet. And he's bored. We see a slow turtle crossing the road. And this is all about jokes. Well, like, hey, buddy, slow down and all that kind of thing. It's stuff that might make a kid laugh. Where an adult might just go,
Yeah.
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 But as he looks away, a blue blur flies by and his speed meter reads 296. Naturally, he's very confused and we see Sonic in the background peering in the back of the car. The Hedgehog then flies by again, this time his speed reaches 300. And from behind, we sort of see Sonic sort of jumping and celebrating. I guess he's beating his high score.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
I like that because immediately it makes clear that Sonic is trying to stay hidden, but he's likes winding people up.
Yeah, he's a kid, isn't he? So, yeah.
Tom gets out of the car, looks around, and comes across one of Sonic's spikes. What did he call him? Fuck, I've forgotten the name of it. Begins with a C. Quill. No, it doesn't begin with a C. It's a Q. Quill. A quill. A Sonic Hedgehog quill. And he picks it up, but he's called away to town for an emergency. Apparently, a duck stole a bagel. So they're setting up how quiet this town is.
Yep.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
We then see the turtle is about to get squished when Sonic dashes in and saves it. And this is our first look at Sonic kind of growing up as a teenager?
Yeah, teenager.
Yeah,
definitely.
and the design, as we said, it looks good.
Yeah.
He looks like Sonic. He's got big eyes, he's got a hedgehog look. I didn't mind it.
Yeah, I was over it.
Sonic makes some jokes before taking the turtle on a wild ride to show him some speed. I did like that. It made me laugh.
Yeah.
He then leaves the turtle in the wood, and we get a POV from Sonic's perspective, sort of show the speed, as we see where Sonic's been hiding out. All this while Queen's Don't Stop Me Now plays. So this is a film does a lot, which it uses actual songs. I don't always like that. I think stick with the soundtrack and all that. And hearing the overplayed Queen's Don't Stop Me Now in this was just like, ugh. Because it's overplayed. I don't want to hear that song again.
I mean, they could have thrown maybe some, I don't know, if they could have got the rights to maybe some actual Sonic music.
Well, what do you mean the rights? Why would they not have the rights?
Well,
they fucking have the rights to Sonic. They use other bits of music elsewhere.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah. You could do to a certain degree, but because obviously, remember the biggest thing, the balancing act that often we've seen throughout the series that gets fucked up more and more again is how do you balance it?
Yes,
who you're making the movie for? You're making it for fans of the game, or you're making it for people in general?
Yeah, of course.
I think Sonic the Hedgehog overall gets the balance decent.
Yeah.
I think it's got enough game references for the nerds to go, oh, that's for me.
Yeah,
while it's got stuff like this, which is going to appeal to people who just want to, I like that song.
Yeah.
I like that song. It's a good Queen song. It's Queen.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is overplayed. I just don't want to hear it more because I've heard it too many times.
Yeah.
Anyway, Sonic tells us that he's living his best life as we see how his speed keeps him from getting bored. An energetic bout of table tennis and stuff like that. It is clever how his speed basically means he's his own extra player, extra company. It's cleverly done.
Yeah,
it is.
Definitely.
But during that bout of table tennis, he knocks over his bag of rings and reveals a map inside that shows safe worlds, some of which have been crossed out. Again, I thought that was really cool.
Yes.
That he's been exploring and trying to find a place where he might need to go if he gets into trouble on Earth.
Yeah.
He reveals that he's scoped out a world of mushrooms. Get it? That is safe should he ever get discovered on Earth, but he really doesn't want to go there. Apparently it's just horrible. Mushrooms, yeah.
Yeah, mushrooms, yeah.
He then introduces us to Green Hills, a town he watches from afar. He then reveals that Tom is his favourite person and he calls him Donut Lord. See, stuff like that is for the kids.
Yeah, of course.
We then see that Tom is in a relationship with Maddie, aka, as Sonic calls her, Pretzel Lady, and they live together. This is a clever way just to give us the exposition we need. Sonic talking directly to us, the audience, and filling us in on what everything is.
Just giving us a brief explanation, not some bloody long-winded backstory.
Yep, we don't need it.
Yep.
Sonic does reveal there's someone in town who is onto him. Crazy Carl, who calls Sonic the Blue Devil, but no one in town believes him, of course. Crazy Carl tries to catch Sonic a lot of the time, and Sonic torments him. That's kind of like, that's a bit cruel. Maybe that's why Crazy Carl is crazy.
It's crazy, yeah.
You know, you've made him crazy, the Blue Devil.
I know, exactly, yeah.
Sonic spends his life on the outside, but it is beginning to have an effect. Putting it simply, he's lonely. Kind of felt sorry for him.
Yeah, well,
I did. I got it.
A kid, 10 years by himself, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Watching all these people live their lives and not being able to be part of it. That night, Tom returns home, scares off raccoons in the garbage. Maddie gives him a letter, something he's been waiting for, and he reveals that he applied to join the San Francisco Police Department and has been accepted, so he's planning to leave. They're both very happy about this, and Maddie does, quite funnily, reveal a cake, 2 for each possible outcome, which was quite clever.
Yeah, it's quite funny, yeah.
She's already looking at apartments, but Tom needs a moment to take it in. She's more than happy to move, as she exposits that the town has been protected by his family over 50 years. There's always been some Wachowski protecting the town, but he supported her while she was going through med school and stuff like that, 'cause she's a veterinarian, and that she's ready to support him. And he's ready to move on too. He wants to help people, and Green Hills just doesn't have enough action for him.
Quiet town, yeah.
It's all cool. It's all cool. The next day, we see him testing his goodbye speech on a donut. Stuff like this just doesn't work for me. I don't find it funny.
No.
Meanwhile, Sonic is watching a kid's baseball game, seeing one of the kids being held aloft by his friends and staring in wonder. That confused me, because I was like, you've been here 10 years and you've never watched a baseball game before? Imagine that happens quite a lot.
Yeah, that was a bit silly.
Because he's like, oh, like he's never seen that before?
Yeah, he must have seen it
Loads of times,
at some
right,
point.
yeah.
I mean, maybe it's just like he wanted to be the kid being lifted up in the air.
But surely that would happen as well. Like 10 years, no one got to celebrate.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just some That's what we said. Nitpicking.
Yeah, nitpicking. Yeah.
That night, the baseball field is empty, and Sonic decides to play on his own, using his speed to play all the roles. Again, so well done. I love this shit. It's really funny. And as Sonic gets home, having run all the bases, he celebrates, but no one is there, and he kind of comes back to reality, and it's silent.
Shoot! Yes! I did it! Did you see that? I did it!
This, to me, might be the best scene in the movie.
Yeah.
This is pure impact. I felt the hair stand up on my body because it just feels so sad, so emotionally affecting, and how it affects him. It gets to him, and he starts to run at super speed, moving so fast and getting so intense that lightning crackles off his body, causing an explosion and knocks out all the power and even a satellite in the sky. And it's like, it is quite epic. And they guess what they use? Soundtrack. They don't use a song, they use a soundtrack. So it builds and builds to this crescendo. The effect of the explosion is quite good. The lights exploding, and you kind of go out to space and see it cutting across the eastern seaboard.
I mean, the entire scene, I said, from the sort of like sad, depressive part to this, it's very well done.
And it even gets a joke, because he stops dead and he's like, oh shit. And he's like, I'm sure nobody noticed that.
Yeah,
and then dashes off. Yeah. You know? And that was funny ending to that scene as well.
I'm sure no one noticed that giant blue explosion, right?
In his home, Tom is speaking to his deputy Wade when he notices the blue quill is glowing under the cushion. So the power's out. He's speaking to Wade to make sure everybody's okay. And he notices, because of the darkness, that the quill is glowing under the cushion. And when he picks it up, it seems to kind of sparkle with a little bit of electricity power. Cool.
Yep.
Building up. We're doing the steps to something. We then cut to the Pentagon for the most boring part of the film, where the chief of staffs from various fucking areas are meeting and believing that the power surge might have been terrorist related, obviously. But nobody seems to know what's caused it. They then decide to send in an expert to work out what caused it, to locate the actual where the power source started from, and they talk about this person as being weird and strange, and it's controversial, and some say he's brilliant, some say he's insane, and all that, blah, 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 blah. We know what they're talking about,
of course,
but they never say his name. We then cut to the baseball field and the army has taken over it. A big black truck rolls in and we're introduced to Dr. Robotnik, Jim Carrey. Cool introduction. I like the outfit.
Yep.
I do like the outfit. I like that they went, okay, look, we can't just drop Dr. Robotnik in as he is, because even Dr. Robotnik evolved over the games.
Yes.
We can't just drop him in as he is in the game. It wouldn't have worked.
No. If he walked out in a bloody red suit,
Red fucking suit, tights, and with a massive round belly, it'd have been like,
it's stupid.
Fuck.
Yeah.
In fact, you could argue, I'd take great liberties, just drop the fucking belly thing full stop.
Yeah.
You know, we don't need it.
Nope.
He looks good. Jim Carrey looks good. I love the Tash, the original Tash. I like his look. We'll get to the things I don't like in a bit.
Of course.
Along with his assistant, Agent Stone, he declares that he's in charge now. This is where I kind of get thing. He starts getting in the face of this goddamn army general, and then there's this really long speech, and Stone's like, he's calling you basic, and I was just like, oh, that's bad.
Yeah,
That's bad.
It goes back to again for me for Jim Carrey. He's a funny guy.
Yep.
But sometimes a lot of his films like he
Take it down.
He's proper intense. He's intense.
Yeah,
Really
which
intense.
can be good in certain
Yes,
films, but there are
yes.
times when I would like, please take it down a notch.
Yeah.
Like Intensity, The Grinch needs it.
Yes.
100%. Liar, liar, get in the bin. I find that movie infuriating. The Mask needs it.
Yeah, needs it. Yeah.
Truman Show, obviously it is well flashes there.
Yes.
Take it down, that kind of thing
Yeah,
for
yeah.
me, you know.
Allow me to clarify. In a sequentially ranked hierarchy based on level of critical importance, the disparity between us is too vast to quantify. Agent Stone?
The doctor thinks you're basic.
But Dr. Robotnik then reveals his advanced technology that includes drones that he sends out to scan the area. So he's got like a hand machine. He's basically a genius that can create robots. Like that. Yeah, it fits.
Exactly. Yeah.
Dr. Robotnik continues to berate the Major and reveals that he holds the machine in higher regards than he does humans. So again, look, I like that touch.
I do because it shows how much he cares about his work.
Yeah.
And his machines, which again is sort of like the game, really.
It does, yeah. Humans, he doesn't care for humans. Nope. We see the drones are searching the forest, and it doesn't take them long to come across the sonic footprint. This is relayed back to Dr. Robotnik inside his truck, which is basically a mobile base, effectively.
Yeah.
Dr. Robotnik is able to scan the footprint and work out exactly what wore the shoe. You don't argue with it. It's just tech, right?
Yeah,
it's just tech. How he's able to do that, who cares? It just works.
It's a kid's film. I'll go with that.
Yeah, but even he's quite shocked because he realises it's something not of this world. The drones and the soldiers are searching the wood. Sonic sees them and realises he has to leave, and he starts getting prepared to leave for the mushroom planet. Basically, yep, I fucked up. Time to go.
Yep.
Yeah. Before he can use the ring, though, the drones arrive outside, forcing him to run away and go elsewhere. Or just throw the ring and go through.
Yeah.
Yeah, that part didn't make much sense to me.
No.
Yeah, okay, you can argue that it's because he doesn't really want to go, so he's looking for an excuse not to go. Meanwhile, Tom calls Maddie, who has gone ahead to San Francisco and is with her sister Rachel, who hates Tom's guts. Why?
It doesn't really explain it. I don't know.
Nope. Tom then sees his bins have been knocked over and thinks it's raccoons again. He grabs Maddie's tranquilizer gun to deal with them. It's Sonic, though, as we see him in Tom's shed trying to talk himself into going to the mushroom planet. Tom bursts in, they scream at each other, because that was the trailer part originally, if you remember.
Yeah.
And Tom shoots him with the tranquilizer gun. As Sonic collapses, he sees Tom's shirt and says San Francisco out loud. He drops the ring, a portal opens to San Francisco, and he falls forward. The bag of rings drops out and onto the tall building in the city. The portal then closes before Sonic can follow. He then falls unconscious. Thought it was brilliant.
Yep.
Really clever way to get rid of the rings and deal with a new scenario.
Yes, extremely clever, yes.
Yeah, I thought it really, really was.
Yep.
It is. It's amusing.
Yeah, I mean it's something small and simple. No big explanation, nothing. It's
Not
just,
over the top.
Yeah.
Sometime after, Thomas puts Sonic in a dog cage, obviously not knowing really what he is, but does realise that this is what Crazy Carl was talking about, the Blue Devil. Behind him, we see Sonic waking up, who just literally climbs out of the cage. We should have locked it, mate. Yeah. They have a back and forth about who Sonic is and what is going on. But before they can get too far into this, Dr. Robotnik's convoy arrives outside, and Sonic begs him for help. He can't run away, his legs are still suffering from the tranquilizers. Yeah, cool touch. You'd still be woozy and groggy. Tom agrees to help. He puts him in the attic, then goes outside to speak with Dr. Robotnik. This I do like, Dr. Robotnik and Tom's thing, where they're both kind of never letting on that they know a little bit more than the other.
Yeah.
But also Dr. Robotnik's struggle to hold his complete and utter disdain for Tom in place is really good stuff. This is good stuff from Jim Carrey.
Yeah, definitely.
Robotnik pretends he's from the power company so he can get inside Tom's house. But Tom calls his bluff by using a friend and asking why he's really there. Dr. Robotnik, while this is going on, uses his glove behind his back to activate some smaller drones which fly into the house secretly. He then tells Tom that he's tracked a similar energy surge to the blackout to this house. One of the small drones starts to scan inside the attic as Sonic hides. He's pretending to be like a ball amongst balls.
Yeah.
And Dr. Robotnik lets his calm demeanour slide, having had enough of Tom, and starts to insult him in the town. Just going off on him, basically. Dr. Robotnik suggests that he's getting in the way of government business. In the attic, Sonic freaks out as the drone almost scans him and slams his way downstairs, hitting a shelf. This gets the attention of Dr. Robotnik, who forces his way past Tom and into the kitchen, where they happily, thankfully, find a raccoon sort of on the shelf.
Yep.
So, yay, convenient.
Very convenient,
And Dr. Robotnik's like, he's kind of like, all right, fair enough. And he's about to leave, but he sees the blue quill. And he confronts Tom and calls on the drone and then points a gun at him. As Dr. Robotnik counts down for Tom to tell the truth, Sonic jumps out and reveals himself, causing Dr. Robotnik to scream. Tom then punches him in the face, knocking him down. This is a good scene. Because I didn't play out how I expected it to play out. I didn't expect Sonic to reveal himself.
Nope.
I also didn't expect Robotnik to freak out, but he is openly startled by what he did not know what this thing was.
Yeah.
And then it's followed up with a punch to the face. Was good. I was like, oh, cool.
Yeah,
also, yay for Tom punching him.
The entire scene, it was all three characters.
Yeah.
Clicked.
Yeah, I would actually argue from the moment Robotnik arrives to this point, it's done quite well. In fact, it continues actually as well, I think we should say, because the drone, seeing Tom attack its master, starts to shoot at them both as they go for cover. Thankfully, the drone has to reload, and Sonic takes advantage, jumping on its back.
One! Wait! Don't hurt him!
It begins to wildly shoot and go wild in the air, but Tom manages to get close and smash it. He then grabs Sonic, throws him in the back of the car, and drives off. So yeah, it's a good sequence.
Yeah,
it's a good sequence. Also, it's again building up, because now we've gone one stage further where Robotnik's seen Sonic, he knows what it is, but he's also been punched, which you know he's not going to like at all. As Tom and Sonic are pulling away, Agent Stone pulls up and sees them driving off. He goes inside and finds Dr. Robotnik coming round. The good doctor is angry that Stone didn't stop them, and Dr. Robotnik berates him. There's a constant theme of this, of Dr. Robotnik berating Agent Stone.
Yeah.
Some of it works, some of it doesn't.
Yes.
We'll get to the one I think really doesn't.
Yes.
And he tells them, look, we're going to capture Sonic and basically cut him up. That's the plan. In the car, Sonic starts to tell Tom about himself, including the loss of his rings. He asks Tom to take him to San Francisco and get the rings. But Tom pulls over and says, look, you go. I don't need this trouble. I've got a lot going on. And Sonic's kind of like, yeah, you're right. And heads off. Hilariously, after being told what direction to go in, he's basically told us head east.
Yep.
Sonic immediately comes back soaking wet. And I did laugh at that.
Yeah.
Because basically, you know what he's done? He's just run straight into the fucking sea.
Yep.
And that's basically what it is. And nice as well to see Sonic angry about this.
Yes.
Because he's basically like, you just did this to me.
Yeah.
And he says it's Tom's fault for shooting him. So he asks for help and Tom agrees, sort of seeing it as his fault. And yeah, you owe him. You are partially responsible for shooting him in with the tranquilizer dart. They're on the road and Tom is going over some rules. They learn each other's name and Tom learns that Sonic has been watching them for years. However, this is where the movie loses me. Sonic is what I was worried before going into this film about. He's infuriatingly annoying in his car.
Yeah.
And I know he's kind of supposed to be, but he doesn't seem to take the situation seriously. And you say, oh, he's young, but he's not that young, and he's been living in hiding for 10 years. He was taking it seriously enough to know he had to leave Earth. Now that he's exposed to Robotnik, they know him and all that. Why in the car is he, I want to go see the big ball of string, and constantly acting like a child?
I mean, originally, my thought was, okay, yeah, he's a teenager, he's a kid, but then I thought, well, hang on, he's been hiding for 10 years.
Yeah.
He knows why he's been sent there. He knows that people are after him. why are you being stupid and keep trying to expose yourself even more to the rest of the world?
It felt forced. It didn't work for me. I didn't find it funny. Like I said, I found him irritating, and that was always one of my biggest worries before seeing the movie was that, oh god, what if Sonic's just really annoying? And here he was annoying.
Do you think that they're trying to create a sort of chemistry between?
Yeah, 100%. Exactly that, because Tom kind of gets annoyed, laughs it off and stuff like that. It is that more than anything else. I can get past it, but then I would argue that this whole next set of sequences have all massive flaws in them and might be part of the worst period of the movie, barring one sequence we'll get to. It's night, they pull over at a motel, and Tom is going to use a payphone to call Wade. He tells Sonic to stay put across the road, but across the road, should I say, Sonic sees a bike hot rod meet, like a gang biker meet up is happening, and it gets his attention, and Sonic is desperate to go and be part of it. Like, weirdly desperate. Like, we're talking about, like, he can't almost deny, it's like the power of the ring pulling him or something. And he's panting at the window, and it's just odd. And you're like, why is this a thing again?
Again, that doesn't make sense because, like I said, why was he panting in a baseball game? Why was he desperate to get involved in that game? It
just feels weird, like he's just you know, and sitting there going, I must deny it, I must deny the urge. Tom speaks to Wade, who reveals that he's been quizzed by Dr. Robotnik's officials, who just so happen to be there right now. Robotnik grabs the phone, telling Tom that he's basically, you made it personal by hitting me. Which is fair, completely fair.
Definitely.
I did laugh though, gonna laugh out of me. Robotnik's doing this really evil, last person that hit me, school bully. And Tom just goes, boom, hangs up, and he stops, he's like, hello. That's great stuff from Jim Carrey. Funny, you know, and that is funny as fuck. I laughed.
Well, I would love to, because I know in a lot of his films he does a lot of improv.
Oh, I don't know if he does these days though. No, I don't know if he does these days. Yeah. I imagine there was some though. I'll imagine there was some improvisation on a script, I'm sure. Tom goes back to the car with food, but guess what? Can you believe it? Sonic's gone. He realises that he's gone to the party and goes inside the bar, finding him trying to blend in with a very stupid outfit. The barmaid comes over and thinks Sonic is a kid in a mask. I'm like, okay, you're pushing it here, film. Yeah. You're pushing it. You are. Tom pretends that Sonic is 43 years old and suffers from a rare skin disease that has made him small and look like that. And I was just like, she's an idiot. That's the explanation. She's an idiot, and everyone in that bar is blind drunk. Yes. Blind drunk.
Clearly, yeah.
She leaves to get their order, and Tom sits down, even though he's not happy about it. They have a thing about bucket lists, and Sonic, excited by it, starts to write his own. Got no problem with that. It ends up revealing to him, though, that he's done so little, and now that he's leaving Earth, he's missed his chance. We kind of get that emotional scene stuff again. Tom, seeing Sonic sad, agrees to help him knock off some of the bucket list in the bar for the next hour, and we get a montage of them having fun. That's fun-ish.
It's fun, but this is obviously me looking into like from a film to like reality. It's like, you know, you're being chased by like scientists and FBI and everyone. You're sitting in a pub doing bucket lists. Are you serious?
No, of course you're absolutely right, but also it's done that like nobody's weirded out by Sonic.
It's like, and now it's like Tom, your life is now over. You've now basically, if you're caught, you're going to jail for the rest of your life. You're sorted.
We have to do it. You have to look. You have to enchain your brain and just go. This is something for the kids to enjoy. That's it, completely and utterly that. But the fun does end when Tom gets a drink in the face because of Sonic. He brushes up, his spikes brush up against a woman. She turns around, sees Tom, and thinks he pinched her bum. Sonic, a group of thugs then come over and call them hipsters. Yeah. What?
It's a kids' film, man.
That's dumb.
They can't say you fucking prick, you touched my girlfriend. Or
no, you don't have to. You can say you don't have to say any of that.
Well, yeah.
But you could be like, you touched my girlfriend.
Your arse is grass.
No, you haven't got to say anything like that. No, yeah. What year are you fucking from? I know you're getting on these days, Damon. But good God, you can simply say you touched my girlfriend.
Yeah.
That's it. But then I don't think it's not related to that.
No,
it's not related to that incident at all. It's just they decided to take a dislike to Sonic and Tom because they think they're hipsters. Yeah. Yet Tom looks nothing like a hipster. He looks like he's melting. He's melting because, and he looks like he's about 40. There's nothing hipster about him at all. Sonic though starts a fight by trying to smash a bottle over one of their heads. But he's not strong enough and it just dinks off the guy's head. Tom then gets punched in the face and, as all movies like this do, it just turns into a massive rumble.
Yeah, a big bloody brawl, yeah.
We then get to see, though, interestingly, how Sonic speed work. As we get him running in slow motion. Hey everybody, have you seen X-Men? Have you seen X-Men Days of Future Past? Quicksilver. Do you remember the scene with Quicksilver when when they're breaking Magneto out? And he runs in slow motion and moves everything so that when it all picks up speed, all the guards get smashed out the way. They would redo that in Apocalypse, I believe.
Yes.
Where he's rescuing him from the house, but it's not as good. That is what this is. And that in itself is a problem.
Yeah.
This isn't clever. Because this is now all quite CGI looking, because like Quicksilver wasn't CGI. But I've seen this and I've seen it done better, so I wasn't impressed beyond.
Yeah.
This is played for laughs. Kind of like what Sonic does is played more for laughs, rather than the violence that Quicksilver kind of lets out.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing.
You can't stop me, 'cause my pain is gasoline. I can't wait for nobody. If you is 1, 2, 3.
Anyway, when the time speeds up, everybody kind of gets knocked over and pulled, and the setup of the sequence of everybody being effectively poof, must have been hard work.
Of course.
And it does look good. But it is time to leave. They run and drive away before another mob can get them. In a motel room after, Sonic is still very excited and they bonded over this incident. Unfortunately, they then ruin it by doing a fart joke. And I was like, oh, fuck you, Phil, man. That's not even a good fart joke. But they do tie into a game reference as Sonic ate a chili dog for the first time in his life. And if you know the games, you know that Sonic loves chili dogs. They then talk about the Mushroom Planet, and Sonic wonders aloud if it's even going to be possible for him to stay on Earth. He then falls asleep after Sonic says that I'm going to stay up all night because he's too excited. He immediately falls asleep. And Tom sees that make a real friend is on Sonic's bucket list. And I was like, oh. Too cheesy for you. It is quite cheesy.
It is pretty cheesy. But
it is.
But again, I've got to look at it as I'm an adult. My kids love it.
Yeah.
So
it's cheesy, but I don't mind it.
Yes.
I don't mind that kind of cheese. But Tom then sees on the news that he's being reported as a terrorist. I was like, that's a clever idea how to get everyone looking for him.
Definitely. I mean, technically he
is.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, technically he is, actually. You're absolutely right.
Potentially Sonic is a bomb, potentially.
Well, not even that bomb, he's an alien.
Yeah,
and
exactly,
Sonic is Tom's harbouring him.
And he's a sort of a scientist in the FBI. So,
government agent.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. The next day, Dr. Robotnik and his goons have arrived at the bar. The thugs are refusing their help. And I was like, how honourable. I mean, I guess there's a sense to that because they've got no love for government.
I understand.
And I thought, that was kind of cool.
But again, this is my realistic brain thinking like, yeah, but if they have evidence that they're there and they know that you know about it, you're harbouring evidence.
No, but you just say you don't know. They don't know you were there. They just know the place was wrecked and you say you were there, and you'll be like, well, what happened?
It might be CCTV.
Yeah, but you're going too deep into that. I like the idea that the thugs have no love for the government.
Yes.
That kind of thing. All right, let's use an example. I'll use an example for myself. There's plenty of people in the world I don't particularly care for. But if a Tory minister came up to me and asked for some dirt on them, I wouldn't tell him because it's government. Yeah. I ain't telling Tory anything. Something like that aspect of it.
Of course.
That more than anything else. I don't mind that. I thought it was kind of cool.
Yeah, no, it was clever.
But we then quickly cut to the same thug being thrown through a window and Dr. Robotnik going back to his mobile base. He now knows apparently they're heading for San Francisco, so we got the information out because those thugs probably overheard them. Tom and Sonic are on the road again, and Sonic asks about Tom's bucket list. Sonic then calls Tom his best friend, but Tom kind of plays that down a little bit, and he reveals he wants to become a San Francisco street cop. Sonic is shocked that Tom is leaving Green Hills and argues that people need him there. Yeah, so Sonic starts to berate him over leaving, saying you are important and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. It's fine.
Yeah.
This is quite boring, if I'm honest.
It is. Yeah, it is.
But we are building to a great sort of action scene.
Yeah.
Because they're completely aware that Dr. Robotnik is on their tail and has launched an armoured car to chase them down. As they argue about Green Hills, the armoured car shoots a harpoon into the car, comes straight through the back window, through the front, right between them into the dashboard. And Dr. Robotnik starts to reel them in. As Tom tries to keep control of the car, Sonic continues to berate Tom for not seeing his importance in Green Hills. Pick your times, man. Maybe focus, that sort of stuff. Sonic, though, is getting upset. And it's causing his body to give off electricity again. And Tom then tells Sonic to hold on slams the brakes down, which causes Sonic to be launched off the car, turning into an electrified spinball, smashing into the armoured vehicle, turning it over on his side. That looked so cool.
It looked really cool, yeah.
It
yeah,
did.
Definitely, yes.
It really did. Because at first I thought, oh, Tom meant to do that. And I was like, that's fucking bit out of order. But he didn't. He told Sonic to hold on because he was just going to brake and try and slam the back of the car into the armoured truck.
Yeah.
But Sonic not holding on meant he got launched, and that bit was accidental because Tom pulls over to find Sonic and checks on him. He's woozy, joke about having a bonus life.
Yes.
But Sonic is happy to see they beat it. However, Robotnik reactivates the machine and a smaller, fast one jumps out and gives chase, shooting a mine at them. They dodge it, it attaches to a different car, and admittedly, I was expecting this to blow up underneath and flip the car, and I thought it'd be a cool stunt.
Yeah.
But then they cut to a family arguing in it, and I was like, oh, well, they're not going to do that to the family.
of course not.
All it does is cut the power out, the family spins around, and they're perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Boo! Boo!
I mean, I do like the level of technology they use in this.
Yeah, I really like. That's why I really like this sequence.
Yes.
Because Sonic then heads out to deal with the robot. He destroys it, but it just keeps coming a bit smaller and faster. So you break a bit off, it continues to come after you. That's cool.
Yep.
For some reason, though, Tom's like, I'll destroy this bit. Give Sonic the wheel. Sonic can't drive.
Of course not.
Tom can't really hit this thing because he's trying to lean out the car with an iron bar.
Yep.
So why doesn't just Sonic deal with it again?
Again, it makes no sense.
Also, this is where we kind of get those jokes that I don't like, pop culture references. Sonic makes a reference about Fast and the Furious.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, because all those kids out there watch the Fast and the Furious franchise. It's fucking weird. So we see a kid movie make a reference to The Shining and stuff like that.
How does he know about playing Fast and Furious? I mean, he's been hiding for 10 years.
Oh, yeah, but like he's probably stealing movies and stuff like that. My God, you get stuck on the weirdest things.
Has he got a TV in the woods?
Of course he does.
Oh.
Why would he not have helped us to a TV? I'm sure he had one when we see inside his cave. That is not to get stuck on. The thing to get stuck on.
Where's the power? Where's the plug source? The power source.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough. Okay. No, that I'll give you. Unless he's like
touching it with his finger and not doing it himself.
Yeah, but he doesn't know he's got that power yet.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Unless he's running in massive extensions throughout the woods. No, fair enough. Fair enough. Battery operated.
Yeah, battery.
Yeah. Tom tries to smash the robot from the door. Sonic tries to drive. Tom is eventually able to smash it, and Dr. Robotnik is not happy. This is those scenes where I think he's stupid, when he's like, oh, come on!
Yeah.
It's like, what? Lastly, though, a really small helicopter drone flies out, and I was like, okay, that's quite funny.
Yeah.
And Sonic thinks it's cute, but it's not, as it literally starts to then cut through the roof, and I thought, again, that was clever.
Yeah, definitely.
The roof flies off, Sonic grabs it and breaks it. But again, a part of it is left behind. It sticks to its hand and starts to beep. They realise, they're like, nothing good ever comes from something that beeps. So they pull over and try to get it off. There is a lot of funny, like, is it off me? Is it off me? And it's stuck somewhere else. That was quite funny.
Yeah.
But they do manage to get it off. But it blows up just behind the Hedgehog and injures him. We then cut to Dr. Robotnik taking his frustration out on Stone. Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Abusive relationships. How fun. But while he's doing this, he then sees the quill in Stone's pocket is glowing. He tries to lick it and it gives him an electric shock. I don't know. That was trailer fodder.
Yeah.
It was trailer fodder. Meanwhile, Tom arrives at Maddie's sister in San Francisco and carries Sonic in. Rachel is all like, I don't want to let him in, believing he's a terrorist and stuff like that. But Maddie stops her and everyone shouts and argue. During this, the dog Ozzy ends up pulling the blanket off, revealing Sonic, and Rachel faints upon seeing this blue hedgehog thing. No, but I mean, that's... I like that everybody who generally gets a proper look at Sonic reacts in shock.
Yeah.
Tom screams and shoots him with a tranquilizer dart. Dr. Robotnik screams at him. Rachel faints.
Yep.
Because that is way more believable than being like, it's a walking, talking... Well, not talking, it only talks. A walking, massive... Like, that's unrealistic. It looks monstrous.
Yes.
It's, you know what I mean? Like, that's a good reaction. I like that.
Yep.
Yeah. Which then brings me to the part of the film I hate the most. Yeah. And probably a part that people think are hilarious. Of a certain age, I think. And probably criticise us for not liking it. Dr. Robotnik puts headphones on as he plays Tunes of Anarchy and starts experimenting with the quill, immediately blowing the power out. He restarts it, dances around as the quill's power is analysed. His dance is interrupted by Stone, who's brought him a latte. I love the way you make it. I mean, it was trailer stuff again.
Yeah.
But I just don't find it... Cringe. It makes me cringe.
Yeah, I mean... Without comparing too much of the games, obviously, I think Jim Carrey has done really well up until now. as Robotnik. I thought he's portrayed how I would probably see him from the games wise. But then this is like dancing and stupidness.
It's stupid.
Yeah,
it's that, isn't it?
I didn't get it. I mean, for me, this is for kids.
Proper kids as well.
Yeah.
It's really silly because he's got like this video playing in the background of him being chased by a T-Rex. And it's just really, really odd. And here's the thing. I don't mind the outbursts in the sense that Robotnik, while crazy, isn't insane. The events of what occur in the film and as time goes by is what makes him maybe more like the video game version of himself. I'm fine with that. This is more unhinged than anything else. He's still able to have fun and all that kind of thing. The problem is this all goes on for a really long time. And I don't get the coffee joke. It's something they would double down on in the sequel. And I just don't get it. Oh, goat's milk, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, of course I do. I love the way you make them. And it's like, okay. Like I said, I found myself cringing.
Yeah, I mean, when I saw it in the trailer, I thought...
I didn't like it in the trailer, I agreed, it was like, that is not great. But
I just thought you might like a latte with steamed Austrian goat milk.
What do I look like, an imbecile? Of course I want a latte. I love the way you make them!
But the quill is analysed and it simply reads as unlimited. It was unlimited what?
Yeah.
Unlimited power? Unlimited. Dr. Robotnik orders Stone to ready the prototype. Okay? And apparently the quill can give his machines the power to reach the full potential. Alright, fair enough. Yeah, down with that. We see Sonic is unconscious on the kitchen table and Tom is asking Maddie to look over him, being she's a vet. We do get this, actually surprisingly again, heartfelt scene. As we see that his feet are battered and his trainers are worn down. I did kind of feel sorry for that. I was like, oh yeah, he's probably never really been able to get a hold of a new pair for a while. He's not likely to steal. He's probably helping himself to stuff out of garbage and things like that. And apparently, because Rachel is freaking out, they've tied her up. So yeah. Because then all we get every time we see Rachel is, couldn't have stuffed a rag in her mouth to shut her up too? Or was that too much? They use some smelling salts to wake Sonic up and he freaks out. When he stops, he introduces himself to Pretzel Lady. Maddie and Tom then talk alone and she starts to freak out. Tom reveals to her that Sonic is the blue devil that Crazy Carl talked about. Tom then gives Maddie a quick rundown of what happened. Thank God it's a quick rundown. And where they are going. Rachel continues to break Tom from her seat. Her child then gives Sonic a new pair of shoes, red shoes. One asks about how they fit perfectly. One asks about that.
No.
Her kid must have weird fucking feet. Maddie has come around now and says that Tom should help Sonic. She's come around to the idea and look, let's help him out. Sonic, meanwhile, is getting into it with Ozzy the dog because Ozzy the dog is Tom's best friend, a man's best friend.
Yep.
And Tom's kind of like, Sonic's kind of like, what's so special about you?
I hope Tom explained to Maddie that, by the way, I assaulted a FBI agent, so I'm probably going to go to jail for this.
Well, I'm going to presume he said all that when we...
Yeah.
I don't need to hear that.
I know.
I don't need to hear all that. Talk in your corner. Let's have Sonic play with Ozzy the dog. At least it's something.
Yes, of course.
So Tom and Maddie then take Rachel's car, but let Sonic drive for some reason. This baffled me. They arrive at the building, right? And the car's smashed up. They're getting lots of people's attention, and they're like, why did we let the Hedgehog drive? And someone's like, is there anything you didn't hit? I'm like... So you didn't want to draw attention to yourself?
Exactly.
And you basically crashed all the way here and immediately got all his attention as you arrived? Also, when you get a car, everyone is looking at you. You're telling me most people, or a lot of people are like, hey, that's the dude from the news, call the police.
Yes.
Fucking absurd.
Ridiculous.
It's stupid.
Absolutely
It's
ridiculous.
stupid.
Yep.
Even stupider, they arrive at the building and Sonic heads off to get inside, but it needs a key. Tom decides to use his police power to get to the roof, and it works. He just goes to the woman and says, hey, there's a jumper on the roof, shows his police badge. She's kind of like, well, that's from Montana. And he's like, yeah, it's a big problem. I've come all the way here. And she's like, okay, cool, here's a roof access key. And I'm like,
ridiculous.
What? That is ridiculous. Also, you don't recognise him? Where's the security guard standing there by going, that guy looks kind of familiar. That kind of thing. It's ridiculous. I know we need to get to the roof, so it is what it is.
Of course.
But fucking hell, I was just kind of like, yeah. And you know what it felt like? They were rushing this.
Yeah,
because this is all happening in a space of about 2
exactly.
minutes. What they are more concerned about was the joke that comes next. As Sonic is smuggled in a bag. And standing at the lift, Sonic won't shut up in a bag, and Tom, and there's a couple of people standing around, and Tom is basically like, oh, it's a child in a bag. No, they're like, is that a child in a bag? He's, oh, yeah, but it's not my child.
Yep.
And here's the thing. It is funny. Because of the way the way James Marsden delivers it. He delivers it with deadpan believability.
Yes.
Like, this is the most normal situation in the world. But the other part of me is like, why the fuck won't Sonic shut up? Like, you know you're in what you're doing. Why are you shut up?
I've used it all. I'll use it again. It's because he's a kid.
Yeah, it's done. It's the reason, right?
He's a child, and children play up. That's what I'm going to think.
Yeah, that's all we can do. It's just one of those things where I'm like, I find it kind of funny, but I also find it kind of irritating. The nitpicky side of me is, of course, those two people would have been like, security,
Exactly.
this guy's got a kid in a bag
I know.
that he said isn't his. So what the fuck's going on? And he's also going to the roof.
I know exactly.
Is he going to throw this kid off the roof? Should probably get up there.
Yes, exactly.
But anyway, they get to the roof and Sonic gets his rings. They start to say goodbye, but make it a whole big thing as Maddie calls them cute. Before he goes, though, Sonic apologises to Tom for what he said about leaving Green Hills. Sonic says, look, I don't want to go, but he knows why he has to. He then thanks Tom for giving him the best day of his life. This goes on forever.
Yep, way too long.
Also, we know he's not going.
No.
Like, we know this isn't the end of the movie. Forget looking at the runtime. You haven't had a big ending. We know something's going to happen.
The big goodbyes because it's like, we got to wait for Robotnik to turn up.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
And Sonic throws the ring, but it bounces off an arriving drone. So Tom and Maddie, who are facing Sonic, who's got his back to the where the drone is, didn't see those drones arriving?
No, of course not.
Didn't see them arriving? Whatever.
Yep.
They're then surrounded by more as Dr. Robotnik flies in. The prototype he was talking about is nothing really from the game. It's just a flying ship.
Yeah.
It's actually quite uninspired, if I'm honest.
Yeah, definitely.
He's in a more recognisable suit though. Notice that? And Tom and Maddie make jokes and mock him. That annoys me. They're like not frightened, no threat. Just like, you look like an idiot.
No, it's absolutely ridiculous.
They have some back and forth, and a reminder to punch annoys Dr. Robotnik. Sonic then makes a reference to him being Eggman here, don't know why, and points out that Dr. Robotnik isn't fast enough to catch him. But Dr. Robotnik then uses the quill power to activate his machines. Realising that Tom and Maddie are defensive, Sonic can run fast, they can't. He pushes them off the building, much to the surprise of Dr. Robotnik. Fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Jim Carrey's reaction is fucking hilarious. He's just like, I did not expect that.
No.
But then as well, his arrogance covers it up a bit. Well, I didn't expect to be, and he covers it because he doesn't like to be surprised, basically. But his reaction of Sonic just pushing him is just like, because even I'd forgotten it, and I was like, oh yeah.
Don't worry, I know exactly what to do.
I was not expecting that. But I was expecting not to expect something, so it doesn't count.
The drones all start firing as Sonic goes into slow motion, and we get what is a famous meme. Dr. Robotnik leaning in to push the red button. You've seen that meme a lot.
Yeah.
Sonic then speeds around destroying the robots and drones as Maddie and Tom fall all in slow motion. However, even though it's in slow motion, Dr. Robotnik's finger is still slowly getting to the red button.
Yep.
And when Sonic went fast, it was already quite close. He hits the button, the quill activates in the ship, and basically gives him super speed too, allowing him to blow Sonic off the building. Sonic comes to, falling, with Maddie and Tom falling below him. All his rings are loose too, but he's able to grab one, throw it under them, and transport them back to Green Hills, where they land in a barn and some hay. I call bullshit on this. So the ring goes underneath him, and Sonic makes it so that the ring comes out sideways, and they come flying out sideways into the barn, landing in hay. They would be broken to pieces regardless.
Ridiculous.
Hay or not, the force that they come through that ring from the height they felt, it might have even gone through the hay and just died on the other side of it.
Yep.
I do not buy that they're just like, oh yeah, fine. No, I was expecting to cut back and just see a couple of mangled bodies, that kind of thing. But no. And Sonic's not so lucky and lands on the ground. But he's fine, don't worry about it. Dr. Robotnik arrives and gives chase, and this is it. The beginning. This is where we catch up to now as Sonic is pursued by Dr. Robotnik through the streets. Lots of explosions. However, this might be the biggest criticism I have of this movie. Did you notice something as they're moving through the city? Two things in particular. Well, it was one thing in particular, but two things stood out more for me. Did you notice anything that was just a bit unusual about San Francisco as Sonic runs through the streets, past cars, under a bus that's sitting in the middle of the street at a certain point while things are being blown up? Did you notice anything odd?
No.
There is not a soul in sight. There is not a single person in the street, not a single person in the car, not a single person in this bus that is across the street, e.g. like it stopped there.
Point, yeah.
Nobody is looking out of a window. Nobody is huddled in a shop. There is nobody on the streets of San Francisco.
Very busy time.
Because they couldn't. Because it's a fucking kids movie, and like the Avengers back in the day and all that, you couldn't have people being hurt.
Yeah.
So you know, they did, rather than have it here, we see people running into buildings or things like that, they just went, nah, let's remove everybody.
Yep.
It'll be so fast, nobody will notice. I noticed because I'm a fucking nerd and I'm doing this video. I noticed it. Sonic is shocked that Dr. Robotnik is able to keep up with him. He then uses his rings to head to different areas of the world. Paris, the Great Wall of China, the Pyramids of Egypt, each time with Dr. Robotnik on his tail. Again, if you want me to be a fucking dick about things, I'll criticise the sort of caricatures of it. You know, he goes to Paris and he runs straight into past the Eiffel Tower that is surprisingly empty.
I know.
Except for a mime who says "Sacre bleu," you know, and I'm like, oh, is that racist? Because it's kind of, at least it is a bit. There's like crap. Like that's what France is. Also, having been to Paris and the Eiffel Tower, there is no time when that area is ever empty at all. The Great Wall of China, I can forgive. Don't know it well enough, but the Pyramids of Egypt, apparently, they're just out in the desert.
Yeah,
as you all know, that is not the case. No. In fact, you want the imagery of the pyramids of Egypt be ruined by Cairo and the surrounding towns and KFCs and all that shit. Yeah. It's all very silly. But in the desert, Sonic creates a sandstorm to blind Dr. Robotnik before heading up the pyramid. And at the top, he's able to escape for a ring just in time, but is hit by the debris of an explosion as he goes through it, falling out of the rings onto the streets of Green Hill at night. Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah. Yep. We're back here. We know this is the end game. I'm happy enough with it. Sonic then drops his bag of rings as Dr. Robotnik comes through after him. It's quite an imposing entrance, you know? I do question the length of time the ring stays open for Dr. Robotnik, but whatever.
Yeah, well, I thought it would have closed the moment he went through.
Well, others seem to close quite fast. Yeah. Tom and Maddie arrive, and Tom picks up the rings as Dr. Robotnik gloats. Don't ask me how Tom and Maddie got here and why it took forever they were tonight, but also to get here exactly when Sonic arrives.
The exact time,
Yeah, I won't think too much about it.
Knew exactly where he's going to be,
Yeah, don't overthink it. Sonic is too hurt to get up as we see Tom used a ring to jump on the back of Dr. Robotnik's ship. I like that.
Yep.
They fight, but good as well, Dr. Robotnik fights back and gets the upper hand and actually knocks Tom out of the ship. And he wonders why Tom would put his life on the line for Sonic. And he can kind of know where this is going. He can kind of feel the energy in the crowd. Because he's a dick, Dr. Robotnik. He just sees, like, oh, why would you do this, you know? And at times people start to rise up seeing that Tom, one of their guys, is in danger. But it goes dark quite quick as Wade shoots at Dr. Robotnik. I'm like, whoa, dude! Like, don't shoot him. That's going to get you in a lot of trouble.
I know.
And then Crazy Carl arrives with a chainsaw.
Random.
But he's justified by the reality of the Blue Devil. But it's their Blue Devil, basically. Yeah. Sonic is still down and Maddie thinks he might be dead. Dr. Robotnik points out that Sonic was just a silly little alien that he didn't belong here, which just drives Tom nuts. And he stands up and calls Sonic his friend. Aww. No, I am going to defend this part. It's fucking cool. I felt it. I was like, yeah, man. He's not just Tom's friend. He's my friend.
It was cheesy, but yeah,
it's good cheesy.
It was enjoyable, but it's like the whole town, like it's like no, it's an alien.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, but they're not defending the alien. They're defending Tom. Tom is staring on the barrel of Robotnik's guns. Tom is their guy. He's a Wachowski, or Wachowski's defended that town. He's their sheriff. They're standing behind him.
Would they stand behind him if they were getting arrested for pleading and
at this point, yes, they will. Yeah. They will, because ultimately as well, it's not just that. Forget that as well. And this is really important. It's about standing up to government.
Yeah, of course.
Bullies. It's about standing up to bullies as well. That's the important message here. There is a big message in here. I think it's worth criticising elements, but I think the message here, while cheesy, been done a bazillion times, shouldn't be slammed, because check this. I also like it because it's coming from a character I like. Sonic. Yeah. I like Sonic the Hedgehog.
Well, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed the scene and the film.
Yep.
But obviously, my nitpicking it's just me being like, oh, the reality and realistic.
It's not infallible. It's worthy of criticism. I agree with you. We've criticised a lot already. And there might be something else to criticise still to come. But for now, Sonic wakes up and he is mad and the power is coming off him in droves. It's almost supersonic, but not quite. Bravo, filmmakers, for holding back.
Yes.
You knew that would be a big deal, and that you don't
Not in
do
the first
everything in the first
Not in the first film.
film. Very clever.
Yes.
Very clever. But I loved it. I loved an intense Sonic.
Yep.
Because I think that was an important aspect to get across here as well. He can be fun. He can be emotional. He can be silly. He can be a child. But he's also Sonic the Hedgehog, and he's powerful.
Very powerful.
Yeah. Sonic then uses his power to fight Dr. Robotnik, and Sonic races towards him, dodging rockets and smashing the ships to bits. Love that kind of Sonic spinball edge they got going on here.
Yeah, definitely.
Thought it was a cool touch. But he's not quite down and out yet. Sonic declares that he's not leaving Earth, Dr. Robotnik is. Tom runs forward to the rings and creates a portal behind the ship to the Mushroom World. Sonic smashes through forward as Dr. Robotnik flies forward too. They hit, and Dr. Robotnik is smashed to bits, launched backwards into the portal, and sent to the Mushroom Planet. It's a very cool scene.
Yes, yeah,
it's a very
definitely.
strong closing scene. Everyone celebrates, and Sonic finally gets that high five he wanted from the baseball field. Tom and Maddie realise that they are now home and decide they're going to stay in Green Hills. So you can see that one coming, but I'm fine with it again.
Yeah, that's obvious, yeah.
Sometime later, and everything has returned to normal. We see Tom and Maddie are being visited by the vice chairman, and he gives them an Olive Garden token as appreciation for their silence regarding the incidents involving Dr. Robotnik and Sonic. And this is why it deserves criticism for its product placement.
Yes.
There was a joke about Olive Garden earlier on and about the never-ending pasta bowl. That was fine. This here is too much. Oh, the government wants to thank you. Here's an Olive Garden token. Hand it to me. You see the token in full view with the logo, and then follows up with it and goes, oh, you see the never-ending salad bowl or pasta bowl? It never ends. And I was just like, oh, that's a fucking advertisement. That is a direct advertisement, and you should be embarrassed.
They were sponsored by...
They paid money.
Yeah,
They paid money.
yeah.
And that's the problem. Lots of firms do it. Of course they do. Hundreds of firms do it.
Yeah.
In the background, can you make sure there's a Pepsi machine or whatever and all this? But that is so egregious. He basically says, he might as well have looked at the camera and gone, it's never ending, wink. And it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing. He goes to leave, and Tom mentions Dr. Robotnik, but the chairman says that person doesn't exist. Now, I dispute why they're so happy to just kind of go along with this whole idea that none of this exists, particularly as he then asks about Sonic, but Tom and Maddie said it is left. And they're like, so you didn't get the alien. Why are you so happy enough to go along with this idea? Why?
Yeah.
I don't understand why they're like, oh, we're going to buy your silence. Don't really get it.
No, I don't get
best
it.
I can say is that they're concerned that so many people from Green Hills will turn around and say a rogue government agent.
Yes.
And obviously when it comes to elections and things like that, that's a real problem.
Of course, yeah.
And with Dr. Robotnik having effectively disappeared, presumably Tom told him where he disappeared to,
Yep.
they're like, you know what? We can put the blame on him and then wash our hands of this completely.
Yep.
Because they did imply a lot of people didn't like him anyway.
Yes.
Of course, though, Sonic hasn't gone. He's with them. And he's going to go back to the cave, but he asked Sonic to move in. They wanted to move in with them and having turned the attic into Sonic's new cave. It's sweet. It's nice.
Yeah.
And it makes sense because he can keep a fucking eye on him then.
Yes, yes.
Welcome home as we head out on a pie here and Sonic getting bugged by Ozzy the dog. That's the end of the movie.
Yep.
But we're not. We're not. Because we have a little bit more to go. A few little scenes to go. As we're not quite done yet, as we see Dr. Robotnik shaving his head. And he's let his moustache grow out. He looks more like the game version now.
Really good, yeah.
It looks really cool. He's gone a bit mad. Properly mad this time. And is trying to find a way home, but is determined to survive in his mushroom planet. Especially as he still has the Sonic Quill, because of course it went through. Did you get a laugh out of Agent Stone?
Yeah.
Basically, in his madness, he's created a stone version of Agent Stone.
Yeah. I thought it was...
I got a laugh out of it.
Yeah,
I got a laugh
yeah.
out of it, you know. It's short, it's to the point, and it's sequel bait.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with that. Yeah.
Uninhabited planet. No resources, no supplies, no apparent way home. A lesser man would die here. I'll be home by Christmas.
Then what we get is a very cool credit sequence. What did you think of the credit sequence? Did you watch it?
I didn't even.
It's a retro. It's all done in retro Sonic game form. So it's
I didn't
credits,
know.
and it's the movie playing out, but with the old school retro Sonic game style. So you're seeing the movie scenes from the movie,
Yeah.
but as if it's a Sonic game. It's actually really, really well done. I was impressed.
I must have missed that.
Oh, it's the credits.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
skip before the credits, but you know
Yeah.
why you don't skip before the credits? Because
always-
we're at this point on time in this world where we have after credit scenes. Did you see the after credit scene?
Nope.
It is simply the arrival of Tails. He appears, says he's here to find Sonic and warn him I'm going to come in danger, and then flies off towards Green Hills. However, of course, if you've seen the sequel, you know that's exactly what happens.
Of course, yeah.
That's all it is. It was just a sequel bait done. Robotnik wanting to
Okay.
get home, Tails arriving, it's sequel bait stuff.
Yep.
And that's Sonic the Hedgehog, the live adaptation movie. Is it fair for me to say this deserves to be called one of the best video game movie adaptations made ever?
I'm going to obviously argue no.
Okay.
Because I think obviously I think I would have two things that are better, but I think it's definitely in the top 5 for me.
I didn't say the best. I said one of the best.
But it's in the top 5 for me. Yeah. So
I wouldn't. I'd struggle to point out a best overall because we've obviously not done all of them either. But I wouldn't say it was the best. The reason why it's set in at best is because the story is just okay. And when it slows down, you feel it slows down. There are a few too many moments that I just didn't care for. The bar scene, for example, the road trip aspects that don't involve action scenes, the rushed, what part would I feel like they were kind of rushing?
The roof.
The trip to the roof, arriving in San Francisco, all elements like that take away from me. A lot of the humour doesn't work for me. Some of it I find silly, sometimes I find it too cheesy, sometimes I find it awkward. So that's why it can't be like that high.
No. I think overall, throughout the entire film, there's more positive than negative.
Yeah.
And obviously, Jim Carrey is a major positive.
Yeah.
Which,
yeah.
I mean, obviously,
Changed my mind completely.
Yeah. I mean, as I said before, he was my reason for not wanting to see this film.
Yep.
And then when I forced myself to watch number 2, only because my children wanted to see it, I was like, wow, actually, I was impressed.
Yep.
Yeah. So.
Same here, I agree. But I also want to compliment Ben Schwartz as the voice of Sonic.
Yeah.
He absolutely does an incredible job. And I do like James Marsden in this. I think they have good chemistry, him and Sonic, back and forth.
Yeah,
I think he does good working with,
Yes.
ultimately, the CGI Hedgehog. Now, don't get me wrong, Ben Schwartz did do motion capture for Sonic, so at least there was that aspect of things. But a lot of the time, there likely would have been that James Marsden would have been just acting against a green ball or something like that, and that's difficult. So well done him.
Yeah, I mean, he's not my favourite actor, but yeah, I mean, he does well in this film.
Favourite action scene? What part? Or favourite moment in the movie? What's your favourite moment in the movie?
It's got to be the whole car chase, I think.
Car chase is pretty good.
It's a good sequence, but if not that, for me, it's got to be the whole sequence outside the house where Robotnik first comes to meet Sonic.
Good.
I think that entire scene there.
The meet Sonic
Sonic,
Tom.
Sonic reveals himself.
Oh right, yeah, that's quite a good scene.
Yeah.
I'd put that up there. I'd also put up when Sonic first loses control and blows the initial bomb and blowing up the electricity that creates the whole start of it. I think that's well worth mentioning. But I also think it's well worth mentioning the action scene at the end, the smashing up of Robotnik, the Sonic just overpowering and haven't had enough of this bully that's been pursuing him now for so long. I think that's really, really good. It's a perfect family film.
Yes.
It is.
Yeah, definitely.
It's something you can put on, it's not too long, you can enjoy. Well, I think a child of 5 or 6 can enjoy it as much as a child of 12 to 14, and an adult can still have fun with it too. That is why it made so much fucking money.
Yeah, exactly.
It really, really did. I think it's a very good movie. The criticisms I have for it, sometimes it's just nitpicking, sometimes it's personal taste.
Of course.
That's it. But I do agree with what you said. It is stronger, but it's got more good than bad.
Yeah.
The sequel, though? Well, we'll have to talk about that one in the future. For now, this was Sonic the Hedgehog, the 2020 live action movie. You got any thoughts on it? You know what to do. Let us know in the comments.
Thank you very much for watching. If you liked what you saw, please help us out by giving us a thumbs up and hitting that subscribe button. If you really liked what you saw, consider donating to keep the website and channel running by buying us a coffee via our coffee page or picking up some merch from our Big Cartel store. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as via our social media, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, as well as listen to our interviews via SoundCloud, Apple Music and Spotify. Just search for GBHBL. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?